And welcome back to Saturday Report. I am Rita Cosby. California's reparations task force releasing an interim report. By the way, it's 500 pages long, detailing harms of slavery and systemic discrimination on African Americans. And joining us now to discuss this is former California Republican chair and attorney Tom Del Becarro. It's great to have you here, Tom. What was your reaction, by the way, to the fact it's this 500-page report just released? And my first thought of right now in California, there are so many problems. They've got the energy grid, they've got crime. Is this really where the focus of Californians is?
Well, I call California the social justice state, not the state where they take care of people, but they pass laws for social justice reasons. We have the highest poverty rate in the country by far, and yet you're right, they are focusing on things like this. We have the highest gas prices, worse crime, worse homelessness. So you raise a great point, Rita, and it's always good to see you. California, the Democrats in the legislature have different priorities than most of their citizens.
Yeah, and what are they doing, by the way, with crime? You've got Gascon there, by the way, who seems to be giving so many people a free pass, and yet they're spending their efforts on this.
Yeah, look, in San Francisco, Chesa Boudin, the DA, who's likely to be recalled, 75% of the gun crimes, he doesn't charge the person for using the gun. So do we really need more laws, or we need DAs who concentrate on it? But no, they create this report. And of course, this report is a huge prelude to massive new government programs, which in fact will not help the people they claim to want to help. Rita, just let me, if I could, read one sentence from this report, the executive summary. And this is what they are claiming are evidence of this discrimination. Better jobs, tax dollars, municipal services, healthy environments, good schools, access to health care, and grocery stores have followed white residents to suburbs, leaving concentrated poverty in the cities. So what they claim is discrimination is something that has happened, by the way, all across the world, which is you concentrate in cities, and then eventually cities are broken down by the people who run them. Who runs the major cities in the United States? And then people leave the city. And so because people are leaving in part because of the bad policies of those who run it, they attribute that to racism.
Yeah, very interesting. I want to read also, here are some of the other points in it, as you brought up too as well. But here's immediate actions to estimate amounts stolen from Black businesses and redistribution. Also compensation for individuals forcibly removed from their homes, those harmed by anti-Black health care, and families denied inheritances. What's the reaction from Californians? By the way, one of the other things, too, on the list, this is wild, and maybe you can explain what it is. Tree shade equity was one of the things that they talked about. What is tree shade equity, Tom?
Well, again, they're claiming that the cities do not have healthy environments, including the fact that, like, I have trees in my front yard, and therefore that is some level of discrimination, just as they talk about lack of construction of parks in poor neighborhoods, or claim that freeways were put through what they say are Black neighborhoods. So yes, this is just everything wrong with the history of mankind. But then let's go to the solution. Their solution are more government programs which create dependence, and that is a harm as well. That's why California has something like 33% of Americans, of the population in poverty, is these government programs that create dependence. So their cure to what their overstated problem is, look, the history of slavery is awful. I wrote about it at length in my book, The Divided Era. But the solution isn't government dependence, and that's what they're concentrating on in their fix.
What's your reaction to what some are saying, like Dr. Ben Carson, for example? He reacted very strongly to this report, and he said, similar to what you're saying, that the focus should be more looking at some of the success. He pointed to Nigerians and Ghanaians in America who have, high education emphasis, high family values emphasis, that those are some of the things as opposed to skin color, and that's where some of the focus should be here if this group was going to do something that he really feels would be instrumental. What's your reaction to that, Tom? And what are other Californians saying about this?
Well, across this state, people are hurting on so many levels. And then they look at something like this. And as the great Thomas Sowell said, who's, for my money, the smartest man in America, we're living in a society where we are not holding people accountable for their acts today, but we are holding them accountable for the acts of people 200 years ago. And we're not providing solutions. What Secretary Carson's talking about is it's not just a simple answer to say whether discrimination by some is resulting in things like this today. And what they're proposing to do, and by the way, they're in charge of the schools of this state, and they rank 48th or 49th in the country. Is that discrimination that they continue to run such weak schools? Or is it the taxpayers' fault, like that they essentially are claiming, and they have to bail them out?
Yeah, it's so fascinating. So many issues here. Tom, thank you. Always great to have you on, my friend. Wonderful to see you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.